What is up, everybody?
It's that favorite time of night and day.
It's Sunday. It's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is DBK Unleashed. Coming to you from nowhere in particular.
Time to switch it over. Yeah.
So, time to switch it over, switch it up. So, tonight's topic is going to be kind of interesting if the music ever starts. Doesn't want to start, we'll just move on with what we got.
You're going to put me asleep, man.
Oh, music just doesn't want to start. So tonight's topic is Squatch Hunting 101. So you want to be a Squatch hunter, Squatch investigator. I forget what I put on the page because it's Sunday and I did that earlier in the
day. I think, yeah, you want to be a Squatch hunter. I do believe that's what it said. And yeah,
comments are open for anybody that wants to tune on in.
Yeah, well, who wants to listen to us talk about wanting to be a Squatch hunter? Yeah. I'm gonna try to do this sober tonight.
Our number one fan tunes in. She says it's Squatch time.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
All right, a little bit of backstory.
And here we go back.
So we are back in the saddle, back to make it happen. So many years ago, James and I were on an investigation for a whole nother area. And we were looking actually for an abandoned cemetery.
Initially.
And
it was initially the other location, and then we decided to try and locate the cemetery.
Right. So we were at the Pisgah home, and then we went to look for the Pisgah cemetery. And we scattered like a bunch of crazy white people. Don't ever go in singles. Don't break up in the woods. And what do? It is
break
the hills
up and
have
go
eyes.
It
is every horror movie known to man.
How many
All right, guys, let's just scatter.
How many did we have out there?
There was 6, I think. I think we had about 6.
Dang, I thought it was a little more than that. But yeah, we were all over the place.
Well, let me see. There was you, me, my brother, Aaron, Bill, Mark. Yeah, so about 6. About 6 of us.
Yeah.
So while we were out there, we happened to have come across some Bigfoot.
Interesting Bigfoot stuff. Absolutely.
I'll go ahead and throw up the picture of our initial. So this is the initial structure that we had found.
Yes.
Sitting up in the woods, just off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a perfectly leveled teepee. There was a lot of brush underneath that really shouldn't have been there. And then we turned around and we happened to...
Is that when we actually saw a nice little pair of eyes?
Yes, that was actually the same trip.
Same trip. Okay.
Same trip. And that's when we saw him. We had him on thermal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got us going on to this, because we're ghost investigators. We're ghost hunters. We're ghostbusters.
Right. Now we're Squatch busters.
And it was that day that changed everything.
Yeah,
Now we're
definitely.
now we're out
Uh,
there squatching.
yeah, I mean, we had so much, evidence. I mean, the tree structure was fascinating by far, and um, you know, we spent. I don't know how long did we spend there with the thermal on those eyes. We were there quite a while.
I think we were up at Pisgah Home for about 2 hours, and then I think we spent
Hmm.
like another 3 to 4 just down in this area of the woods, looking at the things, looking at us, looking at the tree structure, looking at the trail. I mean, this one little spot was such a hotbed that got us going.
For sure. And for us to just stumble upon it, is amazing in itself. I mean, because
Yeah,
like you
and
said,
this was
we were out looking for a cemetery, and then we get this.
just dumb luck. Now, this wasn't the first time I've seen a Squatch. I had seen one probably a year prior up in Seaview, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about that. Went walk for a walk, and I just stumbled upon a big old male, and he was not happy, and I walked away and went, "I'm just going to leave you alone." Um, but I think it was this trip here, uh, 5 years ago. I think it was.
Yes, I'd say so because we just went back up there not too long ago with Wandering Spirits of the Pacific Northwest, with them. And that's, yeah, about 5 years.
It, yeah. So we needed to, because of our discovery and getting onto things, we had to change up our entire game plan. And then we had to sit down and go, well, if we're going to get into this and we're going to start researching and looking, what are we doing? How are we going to do it? And how are we going to make this whole thing a reality?
Right. Well, and didn't we also, I mean, just for validation's sake, didn't we kind of take these pictures that we took to several people? And one,
Yeah, we took it to
I'm not gonna
the.
say his name, but one person said we did not find anything. He didn't see
Oh,
anything
yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
justify that,
He
which is
saw
weird
nothing
because
to justify any of this.
yeah, and it's odd because I actually kind of respected his thing that he was doing beforehand, the TV and all that crap. Um, and then we took it over, or you took it over to what's that place up there in Washington? The
Uh,
Olympia.
the Olymp- the Olympic project.
Yes, yes, Olympic project.
So we took it to them,
And
and
it was fascinating how they
we took
said
it to the
that.
Olympic project, and
Right. And didn't they say some of that foliage and stuff, the bedding was not native or not from that area?
yeah, because they were saying if you look in the back of the picture and the front of the picture underneath the teepee, that the vegetation that's inside the teepee is not the same vegetation as outside the
The
teepee, that it
surroundings.
came from a different area. Yeah, it came from the surrounding area. It wasn't originally there.
Okay.
So, where to start? Because we all got to start somewhere. So, I'm going to put up James's other favorite picture, not Cheap Squatch.
Right.
So, where do you start? Well, you can watch all the TV shows that you want, all the movies, all the documentaries. Those are going to help, but there are places that you can actually go. There's the Bigfoot Museum out here in Boring, Oregon.
Boring.
They've
Yeah.
got a lot of good displays. They got a lot of good boring. Yeah, boring. A lot
Yeah.
of good stuff in there. Just don't ask them to verify your evidence. Might have just
Yeah.
sounded them.
Yeah, I think you just did. But
That's okay.
it is what it is.
Well, the big thing is do your research.
On the do your research on the area that you want to go in and check out. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the section of what to learn, um, figure out whose property it is. Now, what you're going to want to do on this one, and what we did, is we started going through a bunch of the websites. You can find the BFRO website, Big Field Research, something starts with an O. Um,
Organization.
Organization. They have a lot of reporting that you can go and you can look on a certain state, a certain county,
Yeah, all their
and
sightings.
people will write in, yeah, all their sightings.
And they've been
There's
actually having
a
some, just to throw real quick, that BFRO, they've been recently thrown up on Facebook of some sightings and whatnot up in Washington and down in Southern Oregon, I believe, recently.
yeah. There's also another site I'm trying to pull up here. It's called the BMP. It's the Bigfoot Experience, and they have
Hmm.
they also have a nice little map of everything where you can document your sightings. You can look at it. But what you want to do is when you're researching an area, say you're just driving along basic mountain road, you're on your way to the coast or some, you got a little detour. You're like, hey, there's an old logging road. There's an old abandoned town. I'm going to pull over. Maybe you got a flat tire. Maybe you got to use the bathroom. There's nowhere else to go. You get out, you find a giant print, you stumble upon something. You're going to want to research that area on any of the Bigfoot websites, the BMP project. You can also look up the BFRO project organization, look at their maps. Another good thing to do would be look on Facebook. That's another thing that I did on our area was I looked at all of Columbia County. Where is all the sightings? And then I looked at those sightings and would try to talk to some people. Some people would not want to respond back to it. But it's like, okay, the Bigfoot that we had seen had black hair. I've found reports of blonde, strawberry blonde, brown, and black. So then what we did was, all right, we're going to throw out the strawberry blondes, the browns. We're just going to focus on all the blacks. Where are all the black ones showing up at? So that's more out in the Scappoose area, out to from Scappoose to Vernonia. So then we started figuring out. We've spent the last 5 years out there bushwhacking. We found out who owns the property, where we can go without a permit, where we have to have a permit to go. And
Yeah, you
five
want
years
definitely want to make
later,
sure you get the permission. Yeah, make sure. 5 years later.
yeah, five years later, we have a good area.
Oh, definitely.
All right, I'll see if that will throw up there. It's nothing's
Mm.
there. What the hell? All right, I'll put that up there. What to learn? So you want to get your go basic first aid. See if that'll load in again. Definitely get basic first aid, basic outdoor survival skills. Learn how to track. Learn what animals are around. Basically, It's going to be a lot of homework. Like when you're hunting ghosts, you want to do research on the building, the location, the property. before you go in. Like when we had our Columbia Heights investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's an old school. Here are the dates of operation. Is there any major names? Is there anything going on that we need to know about?
Right.
Same with bigfooting. If you're going out on a Squatch hunt, okay, what's areas around? What's going on? What used to be here, pretty much. How heavy was the foot traffic, road traffic was, whatever, what's going on. Um, that damn picture ain't going to want to work today. But hey, why would everything work when we want it to work?
Oh, come
So do your
on.
research, do your homework. Yeah, I don't know. I gave up on it.
It's called chaos, man.
And chaos ensues.
That it does.
Anyway, I was trying to show you a picture of the place that we like to call home.
Yes.
So definitely do all the homework that you can on it. Um, we'll cover some of those. There's a lot of books you can read. We'll cover those books in a little bit. Um, what to wear in the field?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely sturdy hiking boots.
Oh,
You want some that's
definitely.
going to last,
Water.
waterproof, if
Yep.
not waterproof socks. You are going to be bushwhacking. Now, if a lot of people have seen videos with me out there bigfooting, I am wearing head to toe dark camouflage. Tammy says clothes, wear clothes. Well, yeah, I got to blend in a little bit.
Right.
So I personally wear military clothes, military pants, and shirts because they are built to last. When I lived in Montana, we had a guy in there that bought all of his clothing at the Army surplus store. He wasn't in the
Right.
military. He was a psychologist there for a summer to study kids and summertime madness and who knows what he was actually doing. But I always asked him, what, dude, if you were never in the military, why are you in fatigues? He goes, because they're ripstop. I can go out hiking. I can beat them up. They could take a lot of abuse. It's not so much to blend in, it's because they are made to take the abuse. If I'm in a pair of jeans and I fall down a hillside, I'm going to rip those up. If I'm in
Yep.
if I'm in the ripstop, the military stuff, it's not going to be all ripped up and torn up. It's going to take that beating. So I wear military clothing because it's got a lot of pockets and it's got the ripstop. So if I'm kneeling down in the swamp, I'm not worried about everything getting ruined. They're gonna take a beating, and they're gonna keep on ticking. Uh, Gloves. You gotta wear gloves because you're gonna be getting off trail a lot. You're gonna have sticker bushes, any kind of other, thistles, sharp trees, sharp rocks, sharp limbs. I mean, if you look in the picture that I got up here, you just look at any obstacle there. You got down limbs, down trees,
Down trees.
rocks.
Yep. Rocks.
Yeah,
Yep.
you want to keep your hands a little bit more safe. A wide brim hat. I always wear a wide brim hat. Keeps the sun off of me. And yeah, it does kind of look a little cool, especially when we're strapped for anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And we'll,
yeah, ghillie suit too wouldn't hurt.
ghillie suit so you can blend in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Face mask just in case. You get
Yeah,
into
true.
like if we have the swamp area we go through, so it's kind of nice to have something you can pull up over
Just
your mouth and nose, keep the bugs out of you.
hmm I gotta remember
Because
that one for next time.
so definitely you want some good clothing that's going to take a beating. You want a good jacket that's going to keep you warm, keep you dry. Rain poncho. You can always get a military poncho. They take a beating. Because you never know if you're out up on a hill line somewhere, a big ridge, and you never know when the storm is going to come in. And if you're 12 miles away from anything, you want to make sure you're safe, you're secure, and you're going to be able to get home in one piece.
For sure.
You don't need to be dying out there on the hillside.
Uh,
What equipment to use?
hmm. Yeah.
Some some things that I insist on people taking would be a tape measure. If you want to start out basic, take your phone, make sure it's charged. Your phone has a camera, it has a voice recorder. Same thing you do with a ghost. You want photographic evidence. A lot of cameras nowadays will actually put a longitude, latitude tag on where that picture was taken. So that saves you from a GPS. Tape measure, you find prints, you want to get measurements, take a picture of those measurements. That way we can verify that, yeah, the print was 16 inches long, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. If there's more than one print, you can measure the distance between each, the stride on it.
Now, I've gone a little overboard and I actually do have marking flags that I can put in the grounds between prints as we go, but they're heavy as hell. Well,
Yeah.
there's like 200 orange flags. So if we found a series of prints, we can take that tape measure, go, okay, this print is 16 inches long. Then we find the next one. We go, okay, now the stride is, say, 28 inches between footprints. So we mark one, mark the other one, keep
Yeah.
that tape measure at 28 inches, and then it starts sweeping back and forth, going, okay, here's a right print, right, left, right, left, right, left. And then we could sit there and just start marking them down with those flags so we can see exactly where it goes.
Hmm.
Camera, audio recorder with a parabolic dish comes in handy. We've had some good use of that one. Um, game cameras, you can always find some good ones on Amazon. You can leave them up.
Absolutely. Get the
That
solar
that
powered ones.
yes, we recently acquired the solar powered with the cellular option, so we can put these game cameras up, leave them up 365 days a year, and technically be squatching at work.
Right. You
We
get
can make this
a
into a full time paying gig.
get a notification on your phone that something went by the camera. Hey, sorry guys, I'm leaving. I might make my money and retire.
Getting paid to squatch while at work. It's a beautiful thing.
It
But
is.
this is going to come in twofold with the game cameras because now you can monitor the traffic through that area that you've got. And now you can start to put together more of a comprehensive guide of, okay, we know that, for example, in our swamp area, which we've lovingly called the swamp, we have a herd of elk that come through. We've tracked them. We've seen evidence that they come back and forth. We've seen evidence of Squatch laying out traps for the elk. So now once we get the game cameras up there, and they'll be solar powered, so we don't have to. We can set it and forget it and monitor it for, a month, 2 months. How many elk are coming through? How many bear are coming through? Um, I guess this would also be in what equipment to use. Uh, Protection. You need to have protection up
That's,
there.
oh yes, definitely.
So always, always, always get yourself a good backpack. That's part of the gear, but we're going to put it into equipment. So what you want to do with the backpack, make sure you have food, make sure you have lots of water. I would say a water purifier of some sort, because you're going to be up there for a while. You're going to be out, you're going to be burning calories, you're going to be losing water. Nobody dies on a Squatch investigation. You make sure that backpack's got everything you need. That way you can put the game cameras in. Um, as for protection, you could do this in one of many different ways. You could do bear mace, because, for example,
Aw.
these were taken in our search area.
Serious?
So yeah, these were up by the Blue Gate.
Oh, no way. They look like they're
Yeah,
playing. Cubbies.
yeah, just two little cubs. Well, not little cubs anymore, but yeah, this is why I say that we need to start having something more than buck knives. Because I'm not going after, I'm not confronting a bear with a knife.
No.
So in this scenario, you would probably want bear spray. Check the wind, pull it, squeeze the trigger. Hopefully the bears leave you alone. Because if you're squatching, you don't want to make a whole lot of noise. We always do because we're still figuring out a range area. But for these guys, they don't really want to mess with you too much. We don't have grizzly bears out here. Know your wildlife. I think that would be part of the learn what wildlife you have available, what's around you. We have black bear, we have cougar, we have coyotes, we have red foxes, we have badgers. Uh, the most dangerous thing we got to worry about really would be the cougars. So know it. On the off chance, for example, we came across a couple dogmen, and that was the day you actually had to pull out your piece.
I did.
I actually did finish my rifle, and, and I will probably be taking that out with me. And I will be also picking up a 1911 Chamberlain 45 because if nothing else, I want a little bit of stopping power. I would prefer not to kill anything. If I got to shoot over to the side, bear
It's
spray
like,
don't work.
it's just there to protect you.
Yeah. Now, I mean, of course, I look like I'm decked out in black military camo and sidearm, but after the run-ins we've had with things, I want to come home,
Yes.
preferably in one piece.
Absolutely.
Other equipment to use besides a water filter, game cameras. You got to have a knife on you, a good knife. That way, if you happen to get lost in the woods, you can make a shelter. Shelters are just easy little lean-tos that if the weather rolls in, you didn't bring a coat, you didn't bring a poncho, you could use a buck knife, a survival knife, to make up a very quick improvised shelter. Uh, Learn how to make a fire. Take some paracord so you can make a bow drill so you can actually kind of survive. That's the whole point. If you're on a good hunt and you're getting a lot of evidence and you don't come home, was it really a good hunt?
For me, yes. Just kidding. Just throwing it
Well,
out
we
there.
ain't
Why
got
not?
bear bait no more, so all right.
I know, man. Dang.
Other equipment to use. We have these little body cameras
Mm.
that we use for ghost hunting. They just clip on. Uh, I've had this go for hours on hours on a single charge. Always have something going while you're walking. Because there were a lot of times that we were walking around at the beginning and all we had was our phones. And then as you're walking, you're having things thrown at you, you're hearing things, you're missing a lot of things. You get a body camera, you click it on, it's just videotaping as you go. You come across something, boom, you got something. You don't have to fumble for your phone. You never know. There might be some 7-foot Squatch female that wanders across the trail in front of you, and you're just smitten, going, "Look at them cheeks," and then you forget to videotape the whole thing.
Right?
It's late. All
That it
right,
is.
so then,
Well, and then you're gonna want some like casting material too, in case you find
no, good one,
prints.
good one.
So yeah, get some casting material and a bag to once a bag or something to put that print in so you can preserve it. And yeah,
Yeah, that would actually be what to learn as well as how to mix plaster of
me
Paris.
right.
Now, like I have a dog, so I look taught myself in the backyard with the dog. So as she's walking around in the mud, then I just mix up a quick little batch, and I tried it on several of her footprints over multiple days, wet, warm days, hot days, dry days. Um, how much batter you need to make, what you meet the consistency, so you can actually make a good print. Now, uh, that could actually move us into how to investigate.
Nice.
A little bit different banner there. So, how to investigate? How would you do this? Well, one, you're going to take all your notes and everything else for that area. For like our Blue Gate, which we've always had great success with. It's always something.
Absolutely, always.
So you got your gear. You've done all your research. You've looked it up and down. You've looked at sightings. You've talked to witnesses. Now you're going to go out to that location. Let somebody know where you are. Don't go alone,
Yeah, always
but also
buddy
don't
system.
take 40 people with you. Always the buddy system.
What do you think,
Now you're going
man?
to go out.
A good party of what, two or three?
I would say, like last time we went out, we had what, a party of 8, 9?
Yeah, but I mean, if you broke those up, I would say two, no more than three to a little team, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, when we go back out in April and we're going to do the all day trip, um, our game plan is to park, use a descent spray, which would fall underneath equipment to use, spray everybody down so our scent is gone. We're going to set up a primary camp area, just like a little lean to in a central location off the beaten path. It's public land, so we can do that. And then that will be our headquarters. What we will do from there is we will branch out into those smaller groups with 2 or 3 people. and we'll be like, okay, you guys are taking, radio. What equipment to use? Radios, two-way
Oh,
walkie-talkies.
yes. Yes. Oh, my.
Almost forgot that.
Dang. That's one of those important ones.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing we weren't too far ahead. So you'll start on your trail. You'll get a game plan with your people. And for us, it's a lot of old roads and everything. So we can easily go, okay, with Blue Gate is going to be command central, the pickup trucks. Team A, we're going to have you go down to the left side of the road and follow that down a ways until you get to XYZ. Team B, you're going to go right down the road and you guys are going to go down that direction and look for evidence. And you're just looking for things off the beaten path that are abnormal. Like this
That. That.
or this. You're gonna look for things that are awkward and weird. Now this goes back to the learning phase.
Now, again, with this, though, I mean, or actually, even this one, because this picture here, when we took it, if you're looking into it and you look up, you could tell that it was the branches, the trees themselves were manipulated into a way for them to be standing up like that. Not necessarily a tree stand like that where it looks obvious that the wind or whatever has blown it over.
Right. That would be something to learn is learn your trees so you can see that a few of these trees are not the same type of trees that should be growing next to each other. Um, so you're looking for anything that's a variance. Like if you look underneath the teepee, the ferns and everything else are heavier than in the surrounding area. So and I mean you basically want to treat this like a crime scene. You want to look it up and down. You want
Dun
to look
dun
at
dun.
every dum dum dum, every nuance, everything that's weird, everything that looks out of the ordinary. Um, Knowing survival skills will help you because down from this were a bunch of younger shoots where the bark had been peeled off and eaten.
Absolutely.
Now knowing survival skills, the inner bark of a young tree, the white part of the inner bark is basically it's a starch. You can eat it in a survival situation to keep yourself alive. So you also want to look at things in an area of um, I'm going to put a different picture up. We're going to talk about Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
Yes.
We
Very
had a chance to talk
respected in the field.
Very respected, but he's not exactly a squatcher.
No.
Let me pull up his information because I got to read this verbatim. All right, so Dr. Jeff Meldrum, this is off of the Idaho State University webpage, by the way. Dr. Jeff Meldrum is a full professor of anatomy and anthropology. So he's not a Bigfooter. He's a full professor of anatomy and anthropology. So he looks at this in a very scientific state of mind. He teaches human anatomy in the graduate health professions programs. His research encompasses questions of vertebrate evolutionary morphology, generally primate locomotive adaptations, more particularly and especially the emergence of modern human bipedalism. His co-edited volume From Biped to Strider, The Emergence of Modern Human Walking, Running, and Research Transport poses a more recent innovation of modern striding gait than previously assumed. Now, he wasn't interested in Bigfoot until 1996 when he found 15 different tracks.
15.
So
Dang.
15 in a row. So he did not start out as a Bigfoot hunter.
He kind of
He
just, they
is a
fell upon it.
scientist. Well, yeah, and I mean his thing is studying primate footprints.
Right.
So I mean he's looking at this, and I he's retiring soon. I wish he wouldn't, but if you ever get a chance to see his discussions, he is not coming out like other people in the field and saying, "Yes, Bigfoot is real, and this is why it's real." He's looking at it, going, "Listen, these are what I'm seeing in the tracks as a primate, a mid tarsal break, which is only there in a primate, and this is why I think that it's a primate."
Mm-hmm.
Because he's using science to back this stuff up,
Right.
and I mean a lot of it's a theory on the like this would probably be what to learn, how Bigfoot's society lives. I forgot how what it is, but there is a theory that the male of the clan, the tribe, lives in the center of their territory, while the females and the young, the harem, will take up the outside of the territory. Which,
Interesting.
well, I tend to believe that is what our Squatch family would be doing. Because in Vernonia, they have said, I've talked to some witnesses that said, yeah, there's a big old male that sits just outside of the city limits up on the hillside. And he tends to, knock on buildings. He likes to. One guy I talked to said, yeah, he walks through the yard at night. He's caught the big old male walking through at night, and he says, yeah, he just the big guy comes through. He's on his own. So I'm
Well,
thinking our
if I mean, sorry to interrupt, but if he's kept seeing this guy walk through his yard every night, wouldn't it make sense to have a camera or something there to actually have visual proof? I
well
mean,
apparently
it sounds to me like he doesn't have any kind of cameras.
a lot of people that put up the outdoor cameras, the Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
the Sasquatch seem to wander around the IR lights. Another theory is they can see the IR lights. Their eyesight's a little bit more attuned than ours is, so that they can actually see the IR.
Interesting.
So, so a lot of the theory is that once you start putting up a lot of IR lights around your house, I was reading about a family in Montana that had a bunch of outdoor security lights and motion cameras, and at one snowy December, the footprints came in, stopped at the edge of the IR range, wandered out beyond the range, and then continued to sway across the lot.
Hmm.
So the theory that they talk about is that they can see the IR lights. So anytime you have them up and outside, and you're out in the boonies, that they can see them coming, because like deer, if you put a game camera up out in the woods, a lot of people will get pictures of the deer looking straight at the camera, because it's said that the deer can actually see the IR flash.
Okay, so then what would be the purpose behind putting game cameras up if there's a chance that Squatch can see the IR lights?
24/7 monitoring. I mean, some people have got them on game cameras. I mean, if the thing is, you need to leave it up there for a long time. You know, it's
Oh,
like
and you,
anything else. It's anything else in nature. We're going to build this lean-to. So before we do our big overnighter, we need to go up, build it, and just kind of let it become part of the surroundings. Because then the deer will just look at it and be like, oh, yeah, that thing's been here for months. Same thing with Sasquatch. It'll probably just walk back and forth and be like, oh, yeah, it just sits there. It's no big deal. Because animals are lazy after a while. They really are.
all right.
So, how to investigate? You go out there. You could do it in two different ways. You could just start walking and walk and walk and walk and just note down everything. I found a print here. I found this here. I heard a growl here. I smelled it here, which we've been able to smell all at the Blue Gate.
Definitely.
But it's all about observation. Going back to the what to learn nature observation. And the best way to investigate. And what we're going to start doing here, since we have a good area and we know we have hits, put on a ghillie suit or just go and sit. That if you, because if you're going hiking, and I've asked a lot of people this before, if you go out hiking, how many deer, rabbit, raccoons, squirrel, birds, when you're just walking through the woods, how many have you heard? Because as you're going through, you're sending up what's called eccentric ring. So as you hit the trail, and if you're talking Star Wars and costumes and movies, and you're just normal city folk, the squirrels right next to that road that you're starting out on are hearing that. They're being quiet, which then alerts the next group of animals, which so on and so forth and so on and so
Right.
forth. Because nature has an abnormal rhythm to it. Chipmunks and squirrels, they don't just chitter, 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 chitter. They're very hesitant. So they'll walk up, stop, look around, chitter, chitter, walk up a little bit more, chitter, walk up. They're very sporadic. It's a lot of nature observation. What are they doing? How are they doing it? How do they react when there's somebody coming? How are they reacting when there's nobody around? So that would be where cameras could come into play is what is the natural flow of the outdoors? And that area that you're at, what's the natural flow? So we know what to do. Like when we go up the next time, we're going to go in quiet. We're going to go in smaller groups. We're going to go in slowly. We got to be thinking like the deer, thinking like the chipmunks, because we don't want to alert everything along the way. But find a spot, sit down. I've heard a lot. I was reading one book of another researcher. I don't have his name with me right now. But he just goes out in the woods, sits down, plays a harmonica. He just acts like a dumbass hiker. He sets up game cameras. He does whatever he's got to do, but he makes food on a little grill. He just looks like a dumbass hiker because 99% of Bigfoot sightings is people who are just walking through the woods or driving down the road and they're not really paying attention. And I believe that maybe the Squatch have gotten to understand that we as humans we put on blinders. So we'll just go out, we'll sit, we'll investigate. Take us into evidence review. Again, like ghost hunting. Sorry to Mr. Meldrum. I'm going to get you out of here for a second.
Right.
Uh, cast your footprints. Any large shape print that you see, cast. When in doubt, cast.
Absolutely.
You can, because we had one of those times when we were in the swamp and we found a larger print and we casted it. But it was real thin. It wasn't very wide. It was real thin. Uh, we casted it. We took it home with us. We cleaned it up. It was a black bear print.
Mm.
But see, we figured that one out after the fact and went, okay, now that we've got it cast, now we can get those finer imprints out of it. Here's the claws. Here's everything else. We can understand. Yeah, there's a black bear to wander through here. Uh, just like ghost hunting, go through all your audio, taking that digital recorder, you know, play back all the sounds, watch your videos, um, wear the body cam, watch the body cam, look for anything insignificant, but on the headphones, watch the videos with the headphones on. But you're just going to want to just scrutinize it as if you were a ghost hunter. Because you never know what you're going to get. Like the last time we went out, um, we didn't think we got much, but I ended up hearing, I had heard two women talking in a native language. The theory is that Bigfoot has their own speech pattern. It sounds like a samurai, it sounds like a Native American speech. But I heard two women talking to each other in a native style speech pattern. We talked to all the women that were with us, and they said, no, we weren't talking. As I'm going through the video to try to find that segment, I caught something that purrs.
Mm.
I was trying to send that to the rest of our group, and I went back and watched the video. It didn't transfer very well, but it's just this: two members of our group are talking to each other. It's a husband and wife combo. They're discussing something, and then you just hear this, just this purr.
Interesting.
And I was surprised it got it. It was I tried to match it up, but got all the software to listen to it on audio and see the bar graphs, and it did not match anybody's bar graph. So like
Mm.
I ran the video of you talking and looked at how your voice shows
Hmm.
and compared it to the purr. It wasn't you. And I went through everybody that I had on camera and went, okay, well, it's not James. It's not my voice. It's not Kayla's voice. It's not Paranormal Parkour's voice. It's not Josh's voice. I just went down the line of, okay, it's none of these people's voices are matching this purr. So something was in the woods watching us and was probably just amazed by what we were doing. But note everything in your evidence review, no matter how insignificant. Um, just like ghost hunting, keep track of everything.
Oh yeah, I
Do you have
mean,
any?
what's that?
Do you want to add anything to evidence review?
No, I mean, I think you got it right there. I mean, and make sure you um, document everything because, again, even the what you may think is insignificant could actually come back later and be, you know, of some significance later in that review or something else. I know we've had that with on occasion with ghost hunting.
Yeah, I do know that on our first trip through the swamp, when we found the really good print,
Yeah.
uh, I, we did not document it at the time.
No, wish we did.
Well, we
I think
took
we were.
pictures of the print.
I
We
just think we
couldn't
were surprised
cast
by
it.
it. Yeah.
Well, we couldn't cast it because it was in the swamp. It was still wet, but it
Yeah.
was what was next to the start of that track set because we found 4 prints that wandered off
Mm-hmm.
before it got into the heavy swamp and we lost it. But it
Right.
was what was at the beginning of the track that was interesting. It was a lot of pine cones. Somebody had gone through and pulled all the seeds out of pine cones. So, like if you're eating like sunflower seeds,
Mm-hmm.
and you take the casings and you just spin them in a pile.
Oh, interesting.
I originally looked at that and went, okay, this is just squirrels. But it was a big enough pile. And at the time, it didn't register. I was like, oh, this is just squirrels.
I must have
But
missed
the
that
last,
one
well, I didn't point it out because it was, oh, yeah, I've seen squirrels do this before.
because you didn't think it was important at the time. So, and
I didn't think it was important, but it was.
that's why I'm saying, again, make sure you document it because you may at that point not think it's important, but later on, a few minutes down the road or a half hour, or whatever it be, you'll go, oh yeah, remember back then. Now you can tie it in.
Well, what I think was happening, you got to take it like a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you get evidence, you treat the whole area like a crime scene. You make sure nobody's contaminating it. What I believe happens on that day is it heard us walking up the road and it was eating pine cones because pine nuts are edible. We can eat them. They're good survival food. It's a good source of protein.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the learning survival skills comes into play. So I think it was sitting there eating nuts, eating the pine nuts, heard us coming, and then walked off into the swamp because those prints were fresh.
That would make
So
sense then.
I think we missed him by probably about a minute or two. I'm pretty sure he was on the backside of the swamp watching us. I wouldn't put it past him.
Might I have a word with you, please?
Mm-hmm.
But see, we've been learning as we've been going over the last 5 years of, like I'm putting more stuff. I've got my backpack that's full of game cameras, food, water, first aid kits. I've got a buck knife. I'm getting a secondary buck knife. We've got a shovel that folds down. We've got the plaster of Paris. I've got a chest rig now that I've been wearing that has tape measures, plastic baggies, plastic gloves. I'm going to get some, in case we get some hair, get some little test tubes and stuff to put everything in. We're going to start documenting everything a little bit more than we do, which brings us to books to read.
Yay.
There are, yay, books to read. This goes back to what to learn. There are 4 books that I say are a must. 5 would technically, the 5th book would be a book on outdoor survival, shelter building. That would be a whole 5th book. Didn't put in, but these are 2 of the big ones. Tom Brown Jr., The Science and Art of Tracking. He goes into a lot of detail on how to track, how to age, how to identify each track to see and actually how to get into the nitty gritty. How was this thing walking? Was it full? Was it empty? You read the book, you put in the dirt time, and that's the big thing is dirt time. But this book will teach you a lot on outdoor tracking. The second book, Legend Meets Science by Dr. Jeff Meldrum. It is a big read.
It is.
But it is packed with a lot of information that really just narrows down everything. A lot of these books are on Amazon. Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. It's one of the better ones out there. It just doesn't come out and say, this is a Bigfoot. This is where it is. This is how it is. The book is saying...
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No worries.
No biggie. I mean,
The book,
you go to...
The book is taking a...
The book is what? Go ahead.
The book's taking a scientific route to it.
It is, for sure.
It is detailed. It is long, but it will tell you everything. Habits, theories. I mean, it has everything in a Meldrum lecture that you can want, plus more. So it's one that just really kind of get yourself include with, figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, get to know the Sasquatch. It is a creature. If you're a hunter, you're going to be learning about deer, their attitudes, what they're thinking, how they react, what they eat, what they don't eat, where they go, times they're active. You got to take Sasquatch hunting as a hunter, as an investigator, as a wildlife enthusiast, as a survival enthusiast, because you got to look at the big ones. Can this environment that I'm in, can this area, can it sustain a large omnivore? That's what your learning phase is what animals are here. We have black bear, we have moose, we have cougar. We have a lot of big game that's in our area. 2 more books that I highly recommend: Combat Tracking and Tracking and Reading Sign. Again, you got another animal tracking book. It goes into a lot of detail. What, who, what, where, what, and why, where animals are. Combat Tracking would be tracking a bipedal human, or you could actually apply that to a bipedal ape wandering through the woods. Combat tracking does have a lot of evasion techniques, how to figure out if someone's evading you. So that's why I put Combat Tracking Guide on this one, because you've got an intelligent species out there: deer, bear, cougar, coyote. Once you learn how they're going to react to you being in there, they normally want to get the hell out. A Bigfoot has said that they will actually watch you. They'll watch you come in. They'll watch you leave. They'll watch you anytime they'll throw rocks at you. So if you got some combat tracking experience, how are they getting away? Where are they going? And we're going to get rid of this one. Last on the list to being a Squatch investigator, a Squatch hunter: attend a conference, attend a festival, talk to the experts.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to the Squatch Fest in January.
Yep. Be third year in a row. For me, anyway.
Yes. Yeah. This is a great place to go and talk to other teams, talk to the people that have been doing it forever.
And it's
Dr. Meldrum.
great. It's great too that to go to these because when we did that and we took our pictures, if you find some evidence and you want some sort of a validation, these groups and other people there are great resources.
Yeah, they are very, very great resources to go talk to. Show your evidence. Listen to the speakers.
For sure. For
Like the
sure.
Oregon Ghost Conference, we always say, go listen to everybody. Same with Squatch Fest. Same with any Bigfoot festival that you got speakers going on. Go sit, listen. Listen with an open mind. Some people I've taken to these things were bored to death with Dr. Meldrum's speech because he's giving a lot of detailed scientific data, pretty much. Other people will just be straight up to the front. Yes, we like the Olympic project. We found Bigfoot nests. This is what it was built. We tore it down. This is where, how, what, why we think it is. Meldrum, very scientific, very much academic. So some people could probably get bored with that one, but the fact of the matter is he is presenting evidence to the possibility of Bigfoot. But like I said, and I think James can agree, there are other teams there that have been doing it that, like Guardian Angel, DBK, we started out in paranormal and ghosts.
For sure.
We're new to the scene, but we're learning as we go. So I guess we're cross-branded.
Cross branding. Always good.
If anybody that's watching wants to ask a question before we jump out of here, feel free to ask. We will answer. I did forget to put this picture up. We'll put it up in the closing marks. That's why you need a tape measure, so that way you get that nice, good measurement. Take the photographic evidence, get it done, get it all perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of had a long show tonight since we pulled a short one last week.
Excuse me. Yeah. I'd really like to get back to that tree structure of ours. Try to, get back over there and, see if anything else has changed with it or they, totally abandoned it.
Well, I know the last time we went up that direction, we actually couldn't find it. But luckily, my phone does a geotag. I discovered that later on, actually about a month ago. That
Oh yeah.
this has my photos have a longitude, latitude on them, so we can go back to this site now.
Nice.
Which, if we were absolutely smart about it, we go to the Blue Gates, we set up the cameras, then we go up the road to where this is, and we make this a whole day trip. So set up game cameras at the swamp, game camera at the swamp, come up to this area, and do this as an all-dayer. If we were smart.
Yeah. I'd say so. That would work for me.
But next to that, So there seems to be no more questions.
Yeah.
We're gonna head and we're gonna get out of here.
Absolutely.
We've bored you enough tonight. Thank everyone for tuning in. Welcome to the chaos. This was season 2. Anybody get my episode guide out? Season 2, 17.
Episode 17. Yee.
Episode 17, which means we're going to episode 20 and then taking a breather.
Nice.
And then we'll be back for season 3. Hopefully a better internet signal on my end.
Yeah, for sure.
Until that point, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. All right.
But hey, Amazon's having that Amazon's having that Black Friday sale, so I can get me that Wi-Fi extender for a cheap discount.
There you go.
Anyway, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. We won't talk to you before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
We are done. We are out. See you next Sunday. We don't have a topic yet.
Of course not. It's total chaos.
Doc, and I'm out.
This is King James, and I'm out.
Chaos. See everybody next Sunday.